Hello, Shayla.
I get it now.
If you told me I'd be shipping this 2 episodes ago, I would have called you crazy. But in just one scene, Crocodile Gummy has the clown girls going feral, and you know what? I ship it, even if it's not gonna happen. Yeah, Digital Circus's creator has already said there will be no romance in this show, meaning there's no endgame to be found, no horse in this race. We're just doing it for the love of the sport and the delusion. So naturally, I'm all for it. Pomni x Gummigoo has less than 4 minutes of shared screen time, but they've already managed to flip me. So naturally, as a degenerate, I'm just gonna give my thoughts, as these two are great, being a fascinating nexus point of fan interest, great writing, and horny, making it the perfect vector for people to have fun kicking their feet over, as Pomni was clearly smitten, and the idea that Gummy actually remembers her is maddening. As yeah, he might not know, but if he's having to pretend to avoid getting zapped again, that would make this ship oh so juicy. So let's discuss.
You know, for science.
So to clarify this up top, yes, Gooseworks has confirmed that we won't be seeing any of the characters in the Digital Circus end up together. Digital Circus just has other priorities, but we are still free to ship away. Just don't get aggressive and try to police other people about it, which should be the default. But it's not. So here's me, that random dude who talks about shipping, telling you to protect your peace. Just keep scrolling. Unless it's my comments, as I didn't give a fuck about this ship after episode 2.
Let's kill him!
Call it part of my character development of warming up to the Digital Circus as a whole. But after episode 2, when it comes to the idea of these two being shipped together, my opinion upon being notified of its existence was...
Yeah, well, that figures.
Truly, no hate, no love, and no surprise. Of course I thought people were gonna ship Pomni with a cowboy villain who showed up, immediately had an existential crisis, became a whoopee, then joins the team only to die. Yeah, no, it'd be weirder if people didn't start simping. Especially since this is the same episode that made people confront the fact that their fave is in fact a terrible person.
I'm so unbelievably disappointed right now.
Yeah, this ain't haha funny, he's just a dick. So naturally people were looking for other people to declare their fave. Ones that were less problematic, and whoop, there he is in all of his gummy glory. So again, no shit that this ship took off, it's simple math. Personally though, I was apathetic to it. I didn't hate it, but I was a little busy parsing out my own thoughts on this series and my weird relationship to it and all the other shows I have to talk about in public. So yeah, I had other ships to worry about. Gummy x Pomni just fell to the wayside as I had nothing to really get personally invested in. The tags are all there, but after...
Wait, what?
That, I did have enough of him to really make boots out of, so I just moved on. Then he came back, and yeah, it's great, it's cute, and it finally clicked with me why it's so great. Pomni is a walking panic attack trapped in a video game and also a clown outfit. She may not tell jokes, but her existence is one. Stuck in a game with no win condition, her only goal is to not freak out, and at which point you turn into a monster. Which, frankly, this whole situation is like telling a person with anxiety to just not be anxious. Which is right up there with telling water it's wet. No shit and no help. This circus is I Spy hell. Her first day was one long near-death experience, so naturally, she wasn't excited to participate in any group activity after this, especially the next day. Traumatized and still processing, local caretaker Ragatha tries to check on Pomni only for her to not reciprocate that energy.
Look, Pomni, we're already friends with the princess.
I'm not a child, you don't have to hype me up.
Haven't looked at the actual numbers, but Ragatha x Pomni is probably the most popular ship in the show, like flat out. Especially if we disqualify Pomni x Bunnyop, as, let's be real, this is lead x Tumblr sexy man at its finest. Self-inserts, you love them, but Pomni could have been anyone, it'd probably be just as popular as Pomni x.
This is dumb and weird.
However, Ragatha has been trying the hardest in the show to look after Pomni, showing the most concern, the most care, with this being rewarded with nothing. In show.
There's so much much porn!
Pomni's just a little too shell-shocked to appreciate what Ragatha is trying to do. Meaning at the start of episode 2, we haven't seen Pomni truly embrace or connect with anyone at this point. She was around these people. She didn't really consider herself to be part of the team, which brings us to Gummigoo.
This may seem weird, but I think I know the feeling.
This lack of connection is what makes Gummy and Pomni's moments together so impactful when you first watch it, and especially in hindsight. Pomni, for the first time, opens up and connects with another person. She sees in Gummy the same raw hurt that comes from finding herself in an existential nightmare. The others may understand, but they've moved on to coping unhealthily, meaning Pomni doesn't fully see herself in them the way she sees herself in Gummy in this moment. A person is in shock, and this is enough to shake her out of her self-imposed isolation, with the fact that they fall off the map putting Pomni in problem-solving mode rather than just being a passenger for shenanigans. Passivity is no longer a luxury, making this a moment where Pomni shakes off the funk on top of her reaching out to Gummy, creating an instant bond between the two, as this man just lost everything as he found out the truth.
What is my purpose?
You pass butter.
Oh my god.
He's a computer program created by an idiot god designed to just be the villain of, well, an hour or so. With this shared sense of despair bonding the two of them together, as Pomni picks herself up and helps him up as well. All of the emotions of this scene, the change in her character, the empathy we feel for Gummy, it serves to make us invested in these two and their dynamic, making the idea that people would ship them a foregone conclusion. As it's cute, it's heartfelt, and takes no effort to see this scene in a romantic light. Like, you change the lighting and nothing else. Gummy is huge for Pomni's development, and if it were to just develop into something else, well...
Whatever happens, happens.
Now, I wasn't sold off the scene as I was too busy looking at the theme of finding hope in community and connection. Well, that's great in all thematic cohesion, works with like the fandom and the actual canon, but that doesn't matter, as a funny thing happened.
Wait, what?
Hey, Dad!
Now this is gonna sound crazy, but dying was the best thing that could have happened to Gummy from a fandom perspective. RIP to the man, but Gummigoo going from was to wasn't has the fucked up benefit of making him an even more tragic figure and making people love him even more. He's not some guy who joined the team and blends into the background half the time. He was the best part of his episode, then he got murdered by an idiot. This makes him even more tragic, fostering an even stronger connection to the character, while also elevating any future appearances to be something special rather than just scene filler. The man is now a guest star in all the best ways. As yeah, people squeed when he came back, but the biggest surprise though is just how much the show leans into Pomni also squeeing over him.
I'll call your order when your name's ready, yeah.
She is smitten. She sees him and goes gaga. She is crawling trying to check up on him, and even Ragatha is calling this what it is.
Oh, she's flirting with the gummy guy.
And even if you're like, you don't believe that's what's actually happening, the fact that Ragatha is putting that in your head, putting that out there into the ether, yeah, people are gonna take that idea and run with it. And I do like how Digital Circus's writing makes it so you can have multiple interpretations of what Pomni's feeling right now. Is it true like, oh my god, he's back in like a friendly, platonic, or romantic way? Is this partially inspired by like, oh, how the fans would react because they're just going gaga over him? Is this just like, oh my god, Pomni thought she lost this person forever, and he's suddenly back, and Pomni's just getting, oh, something's returned, a hole has been filled, and she is just basking in the moment. You can have any interpretation you want, but a lot of people have already chosen horny, which, okay, we'll go with that. Though just this first scene is what actually got me to start shipping these two, and it's not just that she's clearly got a sweet tooth, it's the fact that Pomni's reaction is so big that it made me reevaluate just their earlier scenes together, and helped me put into perspective just how impactful their earlier interactions were, how it helped Pomni get out of her malaise, how happy she is that he's back, and the bittersweet reality of this reunion. As Gummy, is gone. The man died. There's some sad looks that give us hope that Gummy on some level remembers Pomni, but since we don't get any confirmation, Pom is just left with a version of the man she once knew who doesn't know her. She's sitting there gawking while he's just standing there waiting for some prize. This hits, as it's giving that nice bittersweet what could have been, with fans then trying to fill the void with fan works and copium that maybe he remembers, maybe he'll show up again later, but while that may be a nice little delusional cherry on top, we can still take solace in the fact that they both got the best ending they could have gotten under the circumstance. Pomni finally gets a chance to say goodbye after he was just ripped away, with that death driving her closer to the rest of the circus, so she's gonna be fine. While Gummy, seemingly returned to his factory default, is living in blissful ignorance at what he really is. Plus, he's surrounded by the lads, which is as close as he's gonna get to a win, as even if it's programmed, he did love these two enough to try and hide the truth, as he didn't want to burden them with the reality of this situation. It's not happily ever after, but it's the best that they were gonna get, which again hits so hard and makes the massive boost in popularity so understandable. It was already tragic before. We always knew that Kane reused NPCs as he's lazy, and frankly it'd probably be a waste of time to design new things for everything, but actually bringing back Gummigoo puts us in a post-return mindset. We're no longer just hoping that he'll come back, but wondering what it'd be like if they were to just hang out and maybe get together. Some people were already here as they were living in those trenches, but now the masses have gotten to that level and it's good. Gummigoo was already interesting before. This one line will live rent-free in my head as, oof, that hurts.
Where's Mum?
You have a mom?
Shouldn't she be here with everyone else? I can't even remember her face. Did she ever have a face?
Do start as a stock villain Kane made to provide a challenge for the players to stop, but because he's overly obsessed with his own lore rather than game mechanics, he gave Gummy a sympathetic sob story about why he's doing this because sick mother. He was the bad guy, but he wasn't a bad guy. He was loyal to his family, his friends, then he was confronted with the actual purpose of his existence, and he was nearly shattered by it, with Pomni being the person to help him out of that nosedive. Candy Cowboy Lizard wasn't on my bingo card for love interests, but here we are. Which is fitting because Digital Circus is able to get us emotionally invested in all these goofy looking characters, and I'm invested in hopefully seeing Gummy again. We could not, and it'd be fine, Pomni has gotten her closure, but since he's already appeared once, him appearing again wouldn't be that far-fetched. Yeah, he could just be an NPC again, no memory, but the idea that he's pretending to keep Kane from offing him for good and to protect Pomni's feelings from getting her hopes up, as if he was willing to protect his boys from the truth to not tell them that they were video game characters, it tracks that he might try and do the same for Pomni, pretending that he doesn't know what's up, as at the end of their adventure, he'll just get put back on the shelf again, and Pomni will just have to live with that he's just a thing to be ripped away, as Kane has clearly decided to keep him out of the clubhouse. Even though if fan theories are right, one of the toys has managed to sneak in already. The possibilities for this reunion are endless, and I am very curious to see if we'll get anything, but from what we have, I love it. And I especially love that it's not gonna be canon. As to level with all of you, way too much shipping lately for me has just been a horse race with people competing to justify why their ship is gonna happen, despite the outcome being the most telegraphed thing imaginable. So for a show to just say, it's not happening, none of this is happening, you have to enjoy everyone just being platonic friends. I enjoy that because it forces all these combos that normally trend towards people having just way too much skin in the game to be forced to take a step back and be like, okay, this is just in good fun. As while you might feel strongly, you know it can't be canon, so it's a reason for people to take a step back. I see this as a nice change of pace, as now people can just do a ship for the love of the game instead of trying to win and explain why it should be. There are times when I miss the wild Tumblr days of Jack Frost x Elsa x Spider-Man x Hiccup x Rapunzel, as yeah, shit is weird, but people should be allowed to indulge in a vibe, and Gummigoo x Pomni is definitely a vibe, and I fully ship it. Also, one final addendum, as this got brought up while I was doing research, the reason that Gummy is so buff in all these fan works is kinda simple. All the men in the show are skinny or don't have arms, and that is part of their charm. So if anyone was gonna hit with roids in the fan works, it was gonna be the tough cowboy, as those two tropes are very complementary and are often considered synonymous. Also, let's be real, people wanna fuck him. Which fair.